Hey everyone, here we are again. This is the pre-show, Final Cut TV pre-show, and I'm going to do a little bit of maintenance as I normally do, and then we're going to talk about Final Cut Pro 10.8, Final Cut iPad 2, the Final Cut camera app, and Logic Pro 11. They jumped from 10.8 to 11. That's amazing. Let me just do a little bit of our maintenance here like I normally do during the pre-show. There we go, the pre-show. I'm going to keep a closer eye today on who's watching from which platform. There we go. Let me get the good old little bit of maintenance. This is the pre-show. You get to watch me do a little bit of maintenance as I need to do social media stuff. As I need to do. Just takes a minute. It just takes a minute. The pre-show. You're special because you get to watch the pre-show. You get to watch me do a couple of these things. I mean, I could do these behind the scenes, but I figured, what the heck, you can watch me. Just going to check on a few things, make sure we everywhere we're supposed to be. And I have some questions for you a little bit later. Once we get rolling here. There, that should do it. And I think, let me just check on something. I learned something the other day. Let me see what we're doing here. Yes, we are streaming on X, Facebook, and YouTube. YouTube being the most popular right now, but yesterday we had a lot of viewers from X itself, the platform. So, look, we already got, you people are the best. We already got 5 thumbs up, and we're only in the pre-show. So, am I in focus? I think I am. Yeah, it looks like I am. Yes, absolutely. Let me 3 minutes and I'll be right back. All right, 3 minutes and I will be right back. Ta-da! Here we are again because there's a lot to talk about. There is a lot to talk about. And Final Cut Pro 10.8, look, we already got 11 thumbs up and we've just started. Fantastic. Let me just check on these, see where the viewers are coming from. Most of them are coming from YouTube. That's what I thought. But we have a bunch coming from over in X and not too many from Facebook yet. But I'm going to keep track of that today because I was kind of surprised at how many viewers we had from X yesterday. So we'll do our first comments. Our friend Marcus Moore, hello from Brooklyn, Richard. Can't wait to talk about 10.8. The pre-show, yes. Sean Beckner, 12 thumbs up already. You are the best. That's for you. You're the best. And I think, yeah, we're good. Everything's good. Everything's good. Yeah, I adjust things around a little bit here and there, left and right, lighting and stuff, see how things are going, to see how I can improve little things. So 10 points, Final Cut Pro 10.8 is what I'm most excited about. But I would have to say yesterday's event, since it was an iPad event, iPad Pro, it had a lot of stuff. Final Cut iPad 2 had a lot of stuff going on with that. And a lot of the posts and articles, they mentioned Final Cut iPad 2. Some of them mentioned Final Cut 10.8. I'm interested in Final Cut 10.8. But I'm also interested in Logic Pro jumping from version 10.8 all the way to version 11. Now, let me tell you something. Logic Pro 10.8 came out 6 months ago. 6 months ago, Logic Pro 10.8 came out. I'm talking about the Mac version. 6 months later, it's jumping from 10.8 all the way to version 11. And Sean Beckner says, I'm excited I haven't got to hear about 10.8 yet. We're going to go over all the features that we know about so far in 10.8. And our friend Patrick Masters Productions said, I'm actually more interested in Final Cut Camera. What a surprise that was. What a pleasant surprise that was from the presentation, the Apple presentation yesterday. Final Cut Camera. It's a pro camera by Apple. It has manual features, but it's also more than just that. If you don't use Final Cut or Final Cut for iPad, if you don't use Final Cut Pro or Final Cut for iPad, thank you very much. Then you can still use it, but it has added benefits. Final Cut for iPad, added benefits. We don't know about the Mac version if it's going to have the same benefits or not. So it gives me hope Final Cut Pro 11 will not be solely subscription. Well, it does give it. Listen, we're going to talk about that specifically, but the fact that Logic Pro jumped from 10.8 all the way to Logic Pro 11, free update, no subscription. No subscription. People keep talking subscription. First off, don't put subscriptions in the Final Cut Pro team's head. We discussed that at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. Overwhelmingly, nobody wants subscriptions, and I don't see it happening, especially now that we've seen Final Cut Pro 11. I mean, Logic Pro 10.8 go to Logic Pro 11, free update for existing users. Free update for existing users. Good question. Hello, sir. I started learning editing in Final Cut Pro, but now when I go look for good paying editing job, they ask for someone using Premiere Pro or DaVinci. Should I learn Premiere Pro or stay with Final Cut Pro? Please help. No, don't learn Premiere. Don't learn Premiere. Because you have to pay for it the rest of your life. They hold you ransom. They make it difficult to unsubscribe to their product. Now, I'm just saying that if the area you want to work in is using Premiere, you might have to bite the bullet and learn Premiere, but you got to pay the rest of your life. You can never stop paying. I would recommend learning DaVinci Resolve. You can download the free version. They have a free version. Download it, try it out. Blackmagic has a ton, an absolute ton of tutorials and manuals specific. Final Cut Pro has a really good user manual. It's one of the best. But DaVinci Resolve goes way beyond that. They have manual for Fusion. They have a manual for, extensive manual. They have video tutorials. This is on their website. There's tons of stuff on YouTube. Look, Ripple Training, who used to be almost exclusively Final Cut Pro, has DaVinci Resolve tutorials now. They probably do better with them than they are up to this point than they do with Final Cut. Now, this is what I always say. If you need to work and the places that are hiring want Premiere or DaVinci Resolve, my recommendation is go with DaVinci Resolve. Unequivocally go with DaVinci Resolve. Let me just check on this a second. Yes, we got some stuff, mostly YouTube right now. And X is second, and Facebook is there. I don't know if Facebook tells me how many people are watching. I don't know what's going on. So I Edit Projects says, good afternoon. I'd pay $149 to upgrade to Final Cut Pro 11 if it came with chock full new features. Okay, let's go over some of the things. We're going to go over some of the things. We can say that Logic Pro jumping from 10.8 to 11 is foreshadowing Final Cut Pro jumping from 10.8, which it's going to be in a week or so, to version 11, perhaps within 6 months. I think maybe we're going to see Final Cut Pro 11 with the new M4 MacBook Pros later this year, very possibly at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. That's my thinking right now. I was shocked that Logic Pro went from 10.8 to version 11. Where's 10.9? Where's 10.10? It went from 10.8 to version 11. Now, incredible. That's all I got to say. First off, accolades to the Final Cut Pro team for doing Logic Pro 11, Logic Pro iPad 2, Final Cut iPad 2, and Final Cut 10.8 on the Mac. Absolutely, absolutely. Final Cut Pro team, fantastic job there. That's a lot of work across many versions of Final Cut Logic. And on top of that, you added a camera app, Final Cut Camera. It's amazing the amount of work that went into all those updates. Now, personally, I'm more interested in Final Cut Pro 10.8. We already got 15 thumbs up. We've only been on for 10 minutes. 15 thumbs up already. Thank you very much. You're the best live audience out there. So, it's an enormous amount of work that you've done since 10.7 came out 6 months ago. Personally, I'm interested in Final Cut for the Mac 10.8 and Logic for the Mac 10.8. I'm not going to say that. Facebook ain't worth a F, Bud Shimkus said. Yeah, well, I'm not going to put that up there. I don't want that word up in the live stream. People can go see that if they want to. And as a matter of fact, he posted that from Facebook. That's funny. He posted from Facebook, and he said, Facebook ain't worth an F. Okay, I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to disagree with you. I broadcast to YouTube, X, and Facebook, all three platforms. I also have a Twitter account. I can do an Instagram account, but it's only going to be the center crop. So it's not really this whole nice wide studio that I have and stuff. When the update available for 10.7, I think the updates are going to start happening next Monday. You got 4 updates. It says later this spring, but Logic Pro's coming out next week, blah, blah, blah. So let's just go over here. We've got a lot to talk about, okay? A lot to talk about. Let me just check here. Just checking. Let's go over here and make sure, because, see, I don't know where, let me see something here. I don't know where, let me see there. Related posts. Now is that, no, that's weird. That's just the deck. All right, let's go over here. Here we go. Okay, that has ended. Now let's go over here, home, and let's see. Here we go. All right, here we go. X test. And I'm going to post that there, and it is available. Excellent. There's our first post from X, the platform X, formerly known as Twitter, or still known as Twitter. Who in the heck knows? Oh, see, that's what I thought. The majority of people are watching are from YouTube. Some are watching from Facebook, and the third or the second amount is actually X. X has more viewers than YouTube than Facebook does. So that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. We got almost 50 people watching live. So there's something very interesting that I found happening. And we're going to go over this next. The Logic Pro update. The Logic Pro Mac update going to version 11, and the Logic Pro on the iPad going to version 2 have feature parity. So the features that they have are the same whether you're on the iPad or whether you're on the Mac. They have feature parity in this update. But the Final Cut Pro update, Final Cut Pro 10.8 on the Mac and Final Cut iPad version 2 has no features that are the same. Those two updates are completely independent of each other. There is no feature parity between those two updates. Logic, yes. Logic, yes, is 100% feature parity. Final Cut 10.8 on the Mac and Final Cut iPad version 2, 0. They have no features that are the same. Is Logic 11 getting the stem breakouts? Yes, that's where they are. They're not in Final Cut. They're in Logic. And AI features. Let's go over some of the features. Yes. Very, very interestingly, let's go over my my little slideshow first. Okay, this is Final Cut TV, as you know. Final Cut TV. Now, what we got is this. Logic Pro jumps from version 10.8 all the way to version 11, and it's free for existing users. This is great news since Final Cut Pro is now at 10.8 and also could jump to version 11 for free. Notice there's no subscription in there. Notice There is no subscription in there. Okay? Just pay attention to that. I'm expecting the same thing to happen to Final Cut Pro. Okay? Now, these two versions of Logic Pro are 100% feature parity, meaning the versions on one are exactly the same. The version on the Mac version and the version on the iPad version are exactly the same in Logic Pro. Okay? Unlike Final Cut iPad 2 and Final Cut Pro 10.8 for the Mac, which share no common updated features. There are 0 common updated features between these two versions. Okay? Final Cut iPad 2, let's look at the features that Final Cut iPad 2 has announced. Live multicam, external projects support, which is a big one, 12 new color grading presets, 8 basic text titles, 20 new soundtracks, additional dynamic backgrounds, new Apple Pencil Pro support. These are all the features, okay? These are all the features in Final Cut iPad version 2. All these features, okay? Now let's go to the Mac version, 10.8. Final Cut Pro 10.8. It's none of the same features. It's 0 of the same features. This is Final Cut Pro 10.8. New AI features and organizational tools, enhanced light and color, smooth slow motion, custom names in the inspector. Effects can be dragged from the inspector to other clips in the timeline or the viewer. Timeline index, search for and navigate to clips with missing media or effects. Text-based timeline search includes real scene, camera angle, and more. Let's go back. This is Final Cut Pro 10.8. This is Final Cut for iPad. They have no common features. 0. They have no common features. Logic Pro has 100% the same features. Final Cut 10.8, Final Cut Pro 10.8 on the Mac and Final Cut iPad 2 have no common features. I find that very, very peculiar, but it's okay because they did update both of them. I just found that very, very peculiar. I mean, when I saw that, I'm thinking, it seems like, let's go, keep on going here. Let's go back. Unlike Logic Pro, no feature update parity, 0. It seems they are going in different directions, the iPad and Mac version. Judging by this update, I'm not saying that's what's happening. This update is a little bit catch up because obviously one of the main features is on the iPad version you can now edit from external drives. Well, Final Cut Pro for the Mac has always had that. So that's one feature, but it's not in this update. It's not in this update. So let's keep on going. Since they've had a full number update for Final Cut iPad to version 2, which they did, for optics, they also had to update Final Cut Pro with a full number update. That's my suspicion. In other words, since they did Final Cut for iPad to version 2, they couldn't update Final Cut Pro 10.7.2. They had to also give it a full number update. That's what I suspect happens here. So Final Cut Pro 10.7 to 10.8 was the shortest time between full number updates in the history of Final Cut Pro 10. In the history of Final Cut Pro 10. 6 months. Final Cut Pro 10.7 came out 6 months ago, and now we're getting 10.8 within a week or so. This seems to indicate that full number updates no longer carry the significance that they did up to Final Cut Pro 10.5. Seems to indicate that. They are just a regular feature update number at this point. That's what it seems like is happening. Let me just check this off. I'm changing one of my settings. Live, changing one of my settings live. So thank you very much. We get a lot of thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. A lot of thumbs up. We want to thank all of the watchers, listeners, viewers right now. Absolutely. And the Final Cut Pro team, of course. .10.8 update, which Apple has included, are not groundbreaking like other software. Do you think Final Cut Pro will get better? Yes, it'll get better. It'll get better, but it's going to be at a slower pace than other NLEs, I think. Are we going to get text-based editing? Now I'm thinking we're going to get text-based editing in version 11, and I think we're going to get version 11 later in 2024. I think we're going to get Final Cut Pro version 11 at the Final Cut Pro Creator Summit. That's my suspicion, and that's in November. Do I think it'll get better? Absolutely. It's got better. 10.8 is better than 10.7. 10.7 was better than 10.6 point whatever we were on. Apple's latest AI features have been hardware locked. Very interesting. I'm curious if they are saving huge AI releases for M4 Ultra machines or something. There's going to be some features that are going to need the M4 chip. Some. We're going to find out more in 1 month when we get to WWDC. Now, I was very pleased with the Apple presentation. Very pleased with it. They gave a whole segment to Final Cut Pro. Well, they gave it to Final Cut for the iPad. A whole segment to Final Cut for the iPad. Right? Yeah, they did. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's do this. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to change that to this. There we go. So let's just watch a few little segments of the video. I'm not going to play the whole thing so Apple doesn't claim a copyright strike.
Our own Pro apps for iPad unleash the remarkable capabilities of iPad Pro as well. Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro launched on iPad last year and have given artists the ability to create in completely new ways.
So it's very unusual for Final Cut Pro to be mentioned at any of these Apple events, let alone given a big segment like it was yesterday. Big thumbs up to Apple, the Final Cut Pro team, for doing that. That, once again, we've been complaining there's not enough attention paid to Final Cut Pro, not enough promotion. This was a change. This was a change in the right direction.
And now, only a year later, both apps are getting huge updates. Introducing Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro 2. To tell you more, here's Will.
Final Cut Pro for the iPad and Logic Pro version 2, major updates in 1 year. So, I don't... what the heck's going on here? Shut up. Now, let me turn that down. That's not supposed to be on. My iPhone just decided to start playing the live stream back. Let me just check on this again. Yeah, we got like 20 people watching over there on X right now. which is fantastic. Fantastic. 20. Yes, excellent. If you're watching from Facebook, thank you very much for the thumbs up. We got 20 thumbs up already. If you're watching over there from Facebook, put a comment in. Let me see. See, this is weird. Let me see if I can put a comment in. Let me go over to my live stream and put a comment in to see if it shows up. Look at that. That's weird. Huh. Come on, Facebook. Here we go. Let me just put a comment in. See, I don't think they're coming through. I don't think that the... Let me see if it comes through. Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. We've got 21 thumbs up already. Fantastic. Yeah, it is coming through. Kashmir Artman says, backward compatibility for Final Cut Pro and hardware. You have to go, 10.8 is not out yet, but if you go to the, the Final Cut Pro, let me go over there for you while we're here. I'm curious, see, with release notes and what's new in Final Cut haven't been updated yet. They're still not. Let me see. Let's go here. Let's go here. And we'll answer your question. So you get your question answered live. Isn't that incredible? You're getting answered live. By the way, here's the backyard for today. Let's see if there's any birds out there. I don't see any birds, but it's really, really nice. It's really nice. We're finally getting spring weather. Finally, we're getting spring weather out here on the east coast of the good old USA. So let's go here. Let's go here. So that was yesterday. Let me see where that is. I finally figured out, yeah, that comes off. Now let's do this. Since we had a question, let's do this. Here are your specifications. Here are your specifications. At least so far, I don't know if this is going to change with 10.8, but this way right now, Mac OS 13.5 or later, 8 gigabytes of RAM. If you are running 8 gigabytes of RAM, if you are running 8 gigabytes of RAM with Final Cut Pro, I really think you're going to be having problems. You should do something more than 8. Metal-capable graphics card, Intel-based Mac computers only. That doesn't apply to the M1s. 6 gigabytes of available disk space. Some features require a Mac with Apple Silicon. Internet access fees may apply. Oh. I think you're being silly, but let me just see this. Editing in other NLEs makes me appreciate Final Cut Pro. It's simple and professional, yes. All the different NLEs have strong points and not so strong points. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's appreciated. Of course, they're all different. Final Cut Pro is my main NLE because I've been using it for over 20 years. But I also use DaVinci Resolve. I used DaVinci Resolve this morning. I got those clips from the Apple presentation in DaVinci Resolve. I put it in DaVinci Resolve, selected the text, dropped the clips in the timeline, exported it, and then adjusted it for this live Stream. I only have 5.85 gigabytes available this space. I'm out. Well, not only that, but you're probably having problems all along. Of course, you're just being silly, I'm sure. I'm sure you have more than 5.8 gigabytes of available disk space. But I have terabytes right now. I got a 4 terabyte drive. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. I got a 4 terabyte drive with my MacBook Pro. I would most likely get an 8 terabyte drive with the M4 MacBook Pro. So this is what's probably going to be happening. I'm probably going to be buying the iPad Pro 1 terabyte version and the 4 terabyte MacBook Pro when it comes out later in 2024. I'm probably going to get both. I'm not in any hurry to get both, but I'm probably going to get both of those. Let's go back to our presentation with Apple from yesterday. Now, this guy, I think this is the same guy that I met at the Creative Summit, and I thought he was working on the iPad version. I think he demoed the iPad version at Apple Park.
Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro for iPad were redesigned from the ground up for touch. So seasoned Mac users extending their workflows and next generation iPad creators could get even closer to their content.
So he said he said that the version for the iPad were developed from the ground up for touch. It's a very interesting statement. When are we going to get a touch-based MacBook Pro? You know darn well they have one over there in Cupertino. You know darn well they've been working with touch-based MacBook Pros for probably years. So it's interesting he said that. How awesome would it be if Apple bought Sora and added it to Final Cut Pro 11, put it into Mac Studio Ultra and charge $499? I don't know what Sora is. I don't know what Sora is. Is that something AI? Thank you very much for your thumbs up. Let's just check over here. Yeah, we got 23 people watching over there on the X platform. That's incredible. That's incredible. If you're on the X platform, go ahead and put a comment in there. I mean, I would love for YouTube to get competition, serious competition over there for live streaming on the X platform. I've never stopped live streaming on X, Twitter. I've been live streaming for years as one of the 3 places that I live stream. I would love to see it get popular and do some things and give YouTube some competition. That would be fantastic. If Final Cut Pro 8 libraries work with Intel, then less issues when started sharing between editors. Yes, that's true. It says, yeah, I think the libraries will. I think it'll be backwards compatible, but you have to update the OS. And not all the features are going to be available. Some of the features are going to be available only on the M1s. So that's the tech specs. That is the tech specs. So they probably will not be updating the documentation for Final Cut Pro until 10.8 is released. There you go. There you go. Let's continue our presentation here. This is from Apple's event yesterday.
And today, we're unveiling amazing updates that take creativity to the next level. Let's start with Final Cut Pro, which lets you record, edit, finish, and share professional videos all on iPad.
So one of the things I'm not sure about is this Final Cut camera app. It's a multi-layer app. Number one, any iPhone or iPad up past a certain date, model number, can use it just as a video capture app. You don't need Final Cut Pro. You don't need Final Cut for the iPad. But Final Cut for the iPad has an additional feature built into it using Final Cut camera app that lets you live switch up to 4 Apple devices. So as far as I know, that is specific to Final Cut for iPad 2. As far as I know. Backyard, still no birds. No birdie birds. Beautiful day, though. Absolutely beautiful day.
With the new iPad Pro and M4, it absolutely screams, with final rendering up to 2 times faster than M1. The latest version we created an addition to editing. New external project support now offers creators the flexibility of editing projects.
So the external hard drive support is absolutely a big deal, because I wasn't least bit interested in Final Cut on the iPad. And I'm not going to be using Final Cut on the iPad. I'm not going to, it's not really meant for me, okay? It's meant for, and it's an entry-level way to get into Final Cut. It's entry-level. It's still missing a lot of features. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's missing a lot of features that Final Cut Pro for the Mac has. I've mentioned these all the time. How am I going to connect to my 56 terabyte RAID? Can't do it. How am I going to port over my thousands of Final Cut Pro plugins? Can't do it. Can't do either one of those. Final Cut Pro, the iPad Pro, is using the base M1 chip. It's not going to have the M1 Max or the M1 Ultra that Final Cut MacBook Pro and the Studio, etc., are going to have. It's not going to have the higher end M4 chips. It's not going. I have 64 gigabytes of RAM. I think on my MacBook Pro. I think the maximum on the iPad Pro is 16 of unified memory, or whatever that is. So it's still going to be a step down from the Pro version, but it's really, really effective. It looks like it's a really cool app, and it's a good entry-level way to get into Final Cut. If you've only ever used an iPad, it's perfect for you. But I've used a MacBook Pro all along. I have the keyboard and the mouse and the trackpad, and I like those 3 options for me. Sora is OpenAI's flagship video generation tool. It creates realistic, high-quality videos from text prompt you just described as seen. It creates groundbreaking technology. Can't use your plugins, right? Our friend Brett FX said you can't use your plugins. Exactly, you can't use them on the iPad. So I spent thousands of dollars on my Final Cut Pro for the Mac plugins, and I can't use them? No. I can't plug into my RAID 5? No, I need to. There's a lot of reasons why, but the point is this: if the iPad is your main device, Final Cut is so reasonable at $4.99 a month, $5 a month. I just don't need it. I use my MacBook Pro. On the iPad, I'm going to be using LumaFusion. I paid once, one-time fee, no perpetual, none of this, subscriptions all over the place. I'm using LumaFusion, okay? Nothing wrong with Final Cut for iPad, but I don't need it. I got LumaFusion on the iPad. I got Final Cut Pro on a powerful MacBook Pro. And I'll probably get the M4 MacBook Pro. That's what I'm thinking right now. Apple finally said AI because they realized how much buzz the word AI can generate. I think you're just joking. Yeah, I think you're joking. So WWDC 2024 is going to be the WWDC of AI. We're going to see what Apple's vision is for AI going forward. But from what I understand, the M4 is hardware. Somehow hardware enables AI. We don't know yet how that's going to affect Macs going forward, but it absolutely affects the new iPad Pro. I mean, I'm excited. I'm very excited. Okay. I'm going to get one. I'm going to get an iPad Pro. That's going to be my next. I'm probably going to get the iPad Pro and the MacBook Pro later this year. Probably. Couldn't you plug in a hardware RAID 5? No. No, there's no support for RAIDs on an iPad. Where have you seen an iPad RAID driver? Where have you seen an iPad RAID driver? I have a 64 terabyte RAID. Yeah, it's soft RAID. They're not developing an iPad version of it. What about Promise? They need a driver. What about G-Tech? They all need drivers that are made for Macs. I doubt if they're going to make one for the iPad, at least not now. But that's only one. That's a major problem. I edited off my 56 terabyte RAID 5. I edited off that. So I can't do it on the iPad. And what about my great BreadFX plugins? I can't port them over. They started with a couple of plugins with LumaFusion. Our friend Roger Bolton from Coremount had stabilization. He developed one, but there's been no development for the iPad version of plugins yet. Maybe that's forthcoming. I suppose some of the people will develop them. I'm sure some of the people. I expect that Final Cut for the iPad has tens of thousands of users. That's a lot, tens of thousands of users. But Final Cut Pro for the Mac has 5 million users, probably at this point. Since Final Cut Pro for the Mac is a one-time purchase, you can tell by App Store receipts how many users it has. It's very simple to tell. Final Cut for iPad is a subscription, so people can have it for 1 month and not have it for the next month. How do you count them? I didn't need a driver for Pegasus RAID 5 except to manage it. I needed a driver for my Promise. Absolutely, you need a driver. You can't just plug it in. No, I mean, RAID 5, I needed a driver for my Mac. For all my Promise, you had to install drivers. You have to do the whole permissions thing. But the point is, plug it into your iPad and see if you can see it. I doubt it. Do you think Apple is going to do something with Motion? Well, it's been 10 years. Final Cut has done this in 13 years. Motion has been way, way down here. They haven't given nearly enough attention to Motion for people that use Motion. I don't use Motion that much, so it doesn't really bother me. But people that use it, plug-in developers and stuff, absolutely want more attention paid to Motion. Maybe there's a new Motion coming out, version 6 or version 11, whatever they're going to do. Who the heck knows? Motion's not nearly as popular as Final Cut. Final Cut by far is their most popular pro app, leaps and bounds more popular than anything else. And I would be surprised if Logic wasn't the second most popular. I've been using Logic since I used to use Mark of the Unicorn Motu, but once I switched over to Logic, I like Logic better. So we got 56 people watching live. That's fantastic. 27 thumbs up. Thank you to all of those. Once again, thank you to the Final Cut Pro team for doing all this work. You know darn well it's a lot of work, right? Regardless of whether you think it's enough it's still a lot of work. They had this Logic Pro. They have a separate team for Logic Pro. Final Cut iPad 2, Final Cut Mac 10.8. It's a lot of work. Let's go back and watch a little bit more of the movie. This is Apple's presentation.
Gets directly off a drive, leveraging the fast Thunderbolt connection of iPad Pro.
So the iPad Pro has Thunderbolt. I don't think my iPhone has Thunderbolt. I think my iPhone just has USB 3. So I'm pretty sure. So let's see. Let's go forward a little bit.
Now, Drummer is getting some new bandmates in a feature we call Session Players.
So they've added session players to Logic Pro. Now I have another piece of software. I don't know. Let me just say, here we go. I don't know if it's as good as what I have already. Let's go find out. Let's go find out what's going on here. All right, here, where are we? MacBook Movies. Let's go to Video Countdown. Yeah, here we go. Let's go here. Specs. Let's go here. Cam link. Logic Pro takes music making to the next level with AI features. So all of these features, session players, stem splitter, Chroma Glow, make Logic Pro for iPad and Mac smarter than ever. All of these features feature parity. Both the iPad version and the Mac version have exactly the same feature update. Nothing like Final Cut for iPad and Final Cut for Mac. Final Cut Pro 11, I'm really shocked that they went to 11, but that's interesting. So that's foreshadowing what's going to happen with Final Cut Pro for the Mac. I think they're going to do exactly the same thing. They are going to jump from 10.8, which is coming out next week or so, to version 11, I think maybe later in the year. So we have session players. Session players, personalized AI-driven backing band. You can add bass, keyboards, drums. That's one of the things on both versions of Logic Pro. Bass player is another one. Here you go, bass player. Here you go. And another one is keyboard player. Keyboard player, along with the drums, you have bass player. You don't have a guitar player yet. It's more difficult. Stem splitter. Recover great recordings. So what Stem Splitter does, if you put a music track into Stem Splitter, you can turn off the bass, you can turn off the guitar, you can turn off the drums, you can turn off the vocals or any of those. You can just put whatever you want in that song. Now, it's AI, and I really don't expect it to be that, maybe, thank you very much for the thumbs up, maybe 90%, 95% effective. We'll have to see how that works. But DaVinci Resolve has that built in as well on the edit page. The Mac version is in Logic. In DaVinci Resolve, you have that in the edit page, not the Fairlight page. So do I think Apple's going to do something with Motion? Well, they're going to update it. If there's a big jump, it would be amazing. I don't use Motion that much. I don't have time. So I just don't know. Let me just go over here and take a peek. Here we got 27 people watching over at X. The X platform. Fantastic. 52 right now are watching total. See, it's weird because 52, I don't see numbers reported from Facebook. I don't see the numbers. I only see numbers reported from X and YouTube. Let me go over here just make sure we're doing okay. Yeah, we're doing fine. But anyway, I wanted to come on here today, 57 people watching live. I wanted to come on here today to give you a chance to talk more about what you think about what, let me just do this. What you think about what we know so far. Now, we don't know everything. All right, we do not know everything. Let's do this. This is a big one. This is a big one. Okay, let's turn this off. Let's put this in there. Rename. You can now rename effects and your color, different color, what do you call them? Base color things. You can rename them. That's a big one. It's been on my list for quite a while. For years, it's been on my list. So that's one. This is another one. Let me see. This was interesting. And I want to actually, I can't show you that. Secondary display. No, I don't need to do that. Let me see what I got here. I have something else. Here we go. This is what I wanted to show you. Let's do this instead of that. So this is enhanced light and color. Now, I'm not sure, thank you very much for the thumbs up. I'm not sure what we have going on here versus this is base color grade, enhanced light and color. I'm not sure which one of these things, which one of these fields we have presently. I don't know. But that's enhance light and color. Now let's go over here. Let me see what this one is. This is another one. This is another one. What's going on there? That is a scrolling timeline icon. That means you're going to be able to turn the scrolling timeline on and off from the timeline. You don't have to go into preferences to turn it on and off. We noticed this yesterday, right from the beginning. My friend Bradley Olson sent me a screen grab and said, "What is that?" And I said, "That's got to be the scrolling timeline icon to turn it on and off, like snapping and other things." You got a lot of empty space above the timeline. There's lots of empty space there. I wish we could have the ability to add or customize it ourselves and put things up there, different things. But that is the scrolling timeline icon, I'm pretty sure. Now, magic mask in motion would be amazing. Yeah, people have been asking for that magic mask in motion. People or Final Cut, a better version or something. A better version of it. Let me just see something here. That's that. I'm just going over some stuff. So here's the deal with And I'm not quite sure about this. Let's go back over to the movies a second. Maybe we get some explanation here about what's going on with the camera.
We're introducing an all-new bass and keyboard player, and like Drummer, they're built using AI. Pro 2 is so exciting, and it's smarter than ever. Today, artists find the Drummer feature in Logic even faster. Your HDR and finishing
I'm trying to
is
see where that
incredible.
multicam
Pro
thing is
automatically
happening.
transfers
Here it
and
is.
syncs additional angles during a live Final Cut camera. Final Cut Camera allows users to easily connect multiple iPhones or iPads to capture additional angles during a live multicam shoot, or record professional videos with precise manual controls as a free standalone app.
Did he say record professional cameras?
Dial in exposure, white balance, focus, and more. To support live multicam, we created an entirely new app for iPhone and iPad.
So it seems like the live motion multicam thing is for the iPad Pro right now. That's separate, but it's connected to the Final Cut camera app. Okay? It's separate, but they're connected. You need the Final Cut camera app for any iPhone or iPad to be able to go into that live multicam switching situation on the iPad Pro. Don't think that's available on the Mac version. Maybe it'll be available on the M4 version of the MacBook Pro and Mac. I've been editing a lot with multicam, not live though. Yeah, live, yeah, exactly. Who else has that ability? No other NLE has that ability to use, I mean, not natively, to use iPhones or iPads. I can see how low-budget ENG teams using this out in the field for fast turnarounds. Not only low budget, professional, some of the professional networks are using iPhones now. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's appreciated. It's not only low budget, but also high budget. Not much activity out there today. Not much activity out there today. So I'm going to take another coffee bet. I took a coffee bet that we were going to see an update to Final Cut Pro with this iPad event for the Mac. And I was correct. I had betted coffee. Nobody took me up on that. My next bet is we're going to see Final Cut Pro 11 this year, probably the Creative Summit. And the thing is, the full number of updates don't mean stuff like they used to. Okay, it doesn't mean a laundry list of brand new features. So even though it's going to 11, excuse me, the interesting thing is there's no subscription for Logic Pro, and the update is free. 10.8 to 11, free for existing users, no subscription. They know better. They really do. We've told them at the Creative Summit, plus some other, I'm sure they've got their feedback. So here's the thing with Final Cut Pro. Yes, it is slower on the updates than other NLEs, and I really don't think that's going to change. I don't see that changing. It's just the way it's going to be. I waited 13 years for a scrolling timeline. Now it's here, 13 years. Some people in Hollywood waited 12 years for dupe detection, which is really an important feature in an NLE. It's really an important feature, so I'm glad it's there. These things are getting there. They're just, the Final Cut Pro team, well, first off, they're dealing with Logic, Final Cut Pro, Final Cut on the iPad, Logic Pro on the iPad. They're dealing with all those. I don't see myself editing with Final Cut on the iPad. Like I said, I got my MacBook Pro, so that's going to be, why would I go down to an iPad? If the iPad was all I had, it would be fine. But I still prefer LumaFusion at this point. I really do. It has features that I want. It has an enhanced magnetic timeline. Have they updated the Final Cut iPad 2? Does it have a scrolling timeline yet? Or is it still, does the playhead still scroll off the screen like Final Cut Pro used to? I often wonder if there's a slower pace in updates because there's secretly working on Final Cut Pro 11. Well, of course they're working on Final Cut Pro 11. We've seen the fact that Logic jumped to 11. Final Cut's not going to be far behind. Final Cut's not going to be far behind. This is the way they're doing it. 10.8 to 11, both of their Pro apps. Both of their Pro apps. I don't think 11 is going to be as big as it might have been. So I think they're going to do the same thing. I think they're going to say, here's Final Cut Pro 11, free for existing users. No mention of subscriptions. Don't even mention those. Don't even bring it up. Let me see. Here we go. Oh, yeah, by the way, I have over there on, let's go over here. Let's go over here. Now, where am I? MacBook. Oh, I'm over here. Sponsors, web video. Here we go. So turn that off, and we'll take this up here. Let's take this up. Put this up here. Now, over there at fcpx.tv, this is the longest running Final Cut Pro 10 website in existence. I have a master list, Final Cut Pro 10.8, Final Cut 2 for the iPad. So here's the master list. All these links, Final Cut for iPad. There's the Pro Apps YouTube video. This is our stream from yesterday. We had over 300 simultaneous live viewers yesterday, because that's breaking news, so that's going to be expected. But here's our list over there at fcpx.tv. All the articles I could find from different places, some YouTube videos. Let's just click on one of those to find out. So it goes to Weekly Gadgets, and then you go to the article. Click on another one. You know what's interesting? I guess because it's not actually out yet, I haven't seen anything from Ripple Training regarding Final Cut Pro 10.8. You would have thought they're usually the first out. There's our friend Ian Anderson. Ian Anderson has an article about it. I would have thought that they would have had that out. But anyway, fcpx.tv, go to the main page. It's right there. You also can download the Final Cut Pro 10.7 user guide. Try Final Cut Pro free for 90 days. Send your requests and bug reports or feedback to the Final Cut Pro team by clicking on this little doohickey there, and you can fill it out and send it in to them. What do you think about that? That's been up there for a long time over there at fcpx.tv. I'm not sure what this means. All you need is an HDM dock hub, and your iPad is transformed into a Yellow Box Ultra. I'm not sure what that means. Yellow Box Ultra. Yep. Well, here's the interesting thing about the iPad Pro, which I'm excited about. Number one, it's the M4 chip. Number two, it's a Thunderbolt port, not a USB port. not a USB 3 port like my iPhone is. So, we got 59 people watching. Let me see where they're coming from. Most of them are coming from X. Most of them are coming from X. That's interesting. And then secondarily, just about the same as from YouTube. HDMI. Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. So, yeah, but the raids that I have, they all need drivers. So I don't care if I have a dock or not. I can't connect my raids to my iPad. Now, maybe somebody's developing an iPad version of the driver, but I think it's a lot different than the Mac. I think developing for the iPad, iOS is a lot different than developing one for the Mac. I would be surprised if the raids connect to the iPad, the ones that I have that require drivers for the Mac. But it doesn't make any difference. The iPad's not really meant for that. That's what a Macintosh is supposed to do. As a matter of fact, I have a 2021 M1 Max Pro. At top of the line, everything except for the SSD, I got a 4 terabyte rather than the 8. And I'll probably get the 8 with the new one, so I'll probably be spending $6,000 on a new MacBook Pro. Although maybe I'll just get a studio. Have to wait and see, and just keep this for on the road, my MacBook Pro for on the road, and maybe I'll get a desktop Mac. I have to see what the prices are. If I could get a studio, same specs as the MacBook Pro and M4 for half the price, that's probably what I would do. That is probably what I would do. Get the MacBook Pro. Take this MacBook Pro on the road with me. Use the iPad Pro. Also take that on the road with me. We'll have to see. What did you think about 10.8? What did you think about Final Cut iPad 2? We haven't got our hands on it yet. There'll probably be a whole... Here's what I expect. I expect Ripple Training and other YouTubers and stuff to have a whole bunch of training videos once we get closer to the actual release of Final Cut Pro 10.8 and Final Cut iPad 2. Boy, the names are just all getting mixed up, aren't they? One terabyte Pro 13 order. There you go. There you go, Eric says. Are you talking about the iPad Pro? Yeah. That's what I'll be getting too. I'll be getting the 1 terabyte 13-inch. Besides editing with it, which I'll do sometime just to get a feel for it. I'll use LumaFusion probably. Yellow Box is an all-in-one tablet-like device that allows you to live stream from anywhere. The M4 iPad has plenty of horsepower to get the job done. Okay, but I can do that now. I can live stream from anywhere with my iPhone and my MacBook Pro and my old, if I wanted to use the iPad Pro 2, I could use that. I'm not sure why I need a YOLO box, but it's interesting. We are in an amazing time for video editors. When I first started editing, it was SVHS decks, deck-to-deck editing. I signed up at the local TV station to take classes up there, and they had SVHS deck, plenty. Yes, Yellow does a lot more. I'm sure it does. It's a multicam use, more complex, right? But I can do that with Ecam Live on my MacBook Pro multicam. That's what I'm streaming with right now. This is my MacBook Pro's portable multicam. It now has Ecam Live. Now has the ability to, what is it? It now connects to, what's that platform that everybody uses for multi-people, Partridge Family kind of screens? Ecam Live now connects to that directly. You don't even need a version of it. Zoom, yeah. It allows you to connect multiple cameras or wireless transmitters to it. Once again, I can do that with Ecam Live now with my MacBook Pro. I understand it's a dedicated thing, but I can do that now with. When I did the live stream from the Final Cut Pro Creator, someone had multiple cameras streaming to my MacBook Pro, and I walked around with my iPhone, plugged in cameras. Right now I have 2 cameras. DSLRs of cinema, same with Ecam Live. I got a Lumix GH4 plugged in right now as my main camera. So I can do that with Ecam Live when my MacBook Pro. Is all I'm saying. I can plug in multiple cameras. I can do wireless cameras. I can use my iPhone. Same thing. So I have the ability to do that now. I don't need to buy anything else. And this does a lot more. I mean, I can play movies from it. You can mount a yellow on a camera. It's much more portable. More portable than what? How are you going to interface with the yellow on a camera? How are you going to control your stream? How are you going to monitor it? I need to look at my MacBook Pro screen to monitor it, to watch the stream, to add titles and stuff like that. I need my real estate. I don't know how yellow on a camera is much more portable than a MacBook Pro. MacBook Pro is nothing. Plug it in, put it in my knapsack, and take it with me. But I'm not saying you guys get the yellow if you want to. I'm not going to be getting one. I won't be getting one. I can do everything I want with Ecam Live in my MacBook Pro and my phenomenal iPhone 15 Pro Max. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. We got 31 thumbs up. We got 61 people watching. Thank you. You're doing a fantastic job. Keep coming to these live streams. We'll be back on Saturday, too, Final Cut TV and Coffee, as our normal time. Can you do this in YOLO? Can you do that in YOLO? I can do that in Ecam Live. And Mac OS. So we're going to see, WWDC is coming up in 1 month. We're going to see the future, what Apple's future is with AI. Maybe we'll get a preview. Well, we're not going to get a preview of Final Cut Pro because we already got 10.8 just coming out. But we might get a preview of a M4 MacBook Pro, M4 Mac Studio, and some other things at WWDC. Whether they pre-announce anything like M4 MacBook Pros coming out later this year. M4 Macs are coming out later this year. M4 Studios coming out later this year. I'll be interested in that for sure. I personally would like to see them add the touchscreen from an iPad Pro to a MacBook Pro because I can see some benefits in using the Apple Pencil Pro. Yes. Listen, Apple is already has a touchscreen MacBook Pro. They've had it for years over there in Cupertino. They've been testing it with Mac OS versus iOS, blah, blah, blah. They have touchscreen MacBook Pros. The difference between a touchscreen and a non-touchscreen display is negligible these days. When they first came out, it was a big deal. You may be getting one in the form of an iPad unknowingly. Getting one what? All I need to switch from Resolve, better mask tracking, transcribe subtitles, that's honestly it. Well, that's honestly it for 2024, but Yeah. Listen, I love Resolve for transcriptions and for text-based editing. I use it all the time. I can let it run in the background. It doesn't have any memory leak or anything. We'll see a touchscreen MacBook Pro when we see an audio mixer in Final Cut Pro. Perhaps. I'm not predicting a touchscreen is going to be in the M4, but I'd like to see Thunderbolt 5 in the M4s. If the new MacBook Pro, the M4 MacBook Pro, doesn't have Thunderbolt 5, that's going to be a turnoff for me. And then I might wait another generation because I like the MacBook Pro for my desktop machine a lot. It adds a third screen. If I get a Mac Studio, which I might, because a MacBook Pro is going to be $6,000 for me. It's going to be a lot of money. And I'm not sure if I'm ready to spend that. We'll have to see at the time. I might just get a Mac Studio instead, which should, if I can save half price, I probably would get one of those. The M4 Max, Mac Studio, the Ultra, whatever the heck they're going to do. I don't know. We got 63 people watching, 31 thumbs up. Thank you very much. I just wanted to come back on today and talk a little bit more about 10.8. Let me see where we've got our viewers. X and YouTube are about the same. Now, somebody's got to be watching on Facebook, but the viewer count doesn't show up from Facebook. I'm not sure why. Let me go over there and see if I can see how many people are watching on Facebook. Yeah, let's see. Let's see if I can see the amount of people watching on Facebook. I don't think many people are watching on Facebook. It's mostly all YouTube and X. Very, very interesting. Well, here's the thing. The reason I'm surprised is because when I see after we finish the live stream and I go to look at the numbers, I check numbers that maybe 24 hours later. Facebook always has hundreds and hundreds of people that have viewed the video. So maybe they all watch it after the fact. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. The encoders might be up to twice as fast in the M4 compared to the ones in the M1, M3 versions. We will know when we see the reviews. That's exactly correct. We don't know for sure about Final Cut Pro 10.8 yet. We've already seen some things, improvements for sure. I wonder if there's a world where 3 Mac apps exist. iMovie, a simple Final Cut Pro version, then a more advanced Final Cut Pro version that's more similar to Resolve with motion built in, etc. I'd like to see Final Cut 11 do like Resolve is done with the tabs, switching between the different apps. I'd like to see that. See, now it says, let me see if I can go up here. See, it's showing me viewers on Facebook Live on my Mac, but it's not showing. It says it's streaming on Facebook, but it doesn't show me the viewer count. That's all right. Yeah, tabs are nice. Much better than XML import and export. Much, much better than XML import and export. Let's go over here, back to the newsroom. This is also the first time they've introduced a new M chip into the iPad before they introduced it into the Mac, right? This is the first time they've done that. The M4 is in the iPad before it's in the Mac. Very interesting. Now, it is the base level. It is the base level. But let's go over here and see what's going on over there. Anything going on X right now? So people keep asking this same question. Does Final Cut Camera work with Final Cut Pro for the Mac? The camera is not what you're talking about. The camera just works without Final Cut Pro or anything. The camera works on iPhones and iPads. You're talking about the multicam switcher, live switcher. They didn't say anything about the Mac version having that. Maybe that's going to be M4 dependent. I think X will become more interesting when they release an app for just watching video content. Elon Musk wrote a while back they're developing a video-centric app. I would love for YouTube to have serious competition. Right now, like I said, let me see what I got. Right now, I got 38 people watching over on X, 26 watching on YouTube. So actually more are watching on X than are watching on YouTube. That's what I'm saying. It absolutely can be a platform. I agree with that. They need a dedicated viewer app or make it an easier way to get to the videos. I always have problems. Off topic, but how does CapCut have a skimming playhead when Apple has a patent on it? Apple doesn't have a patent on that. People, you talking about a scrolling timeline? Oh, you're talking about a magnetic timeline or live skimming? There's no patent on that. A lot of the NLEs have both of those features. People say all the time, well, they can't do that because Apple has a patent on the magnetic timeline. LumaFusion has a magnetic timeline, and they call it the magnetic timeline. LumaFusion has an enhanced magnetic timeline. There may be some kind of a whole patent on the entire application, but not individual features. I mean, for the longest time, back in the early days, 20 years ago, Final Cut didn't have JKL playback. JKL playback. I got that from Avid. There's no patent on that. I mean, maybe they're not enforcing. Maybe there is some technical patent, they're just not enforcing it. That could be. That could be. So I just want to say congratulations to the Final Cut Pro team. They watch these live streams, absolutely. You've done a lot of work. A lot of work. We can see that. We want to make sure you continue to develop Final Cut for the Mac. Interesting, never knew that, yeah. I've seen that posted a lot of times, but no, LumaFusion has a magnetic timeline. They have an enhanced magnetic timeline. They even call it the magnetic timeline. I mean, it's just basically a ripple delete. You pull a clip out and everything closes up. Put a clip back, everything moves down. Logic Pro has, thank you very much for the thumbs up. Logic Pro has a ripple timeline that can go left or right. Left or right, Logic Pro. Can't wait for 10.8. I have 2 projects ongoing and can't update anyway. So yeah, I think that'll be out within a week. I think Logic's coming out next Monday or Tuesday, I think that said. So both versions of Logic, and I expect the iPad version of Final Cut and 10.8 to come out quickly. And then the camera app, whenever they get that readied. Camera app's a very pleasant surprise. Do you think Apple would ever be interested in expanding Final Cut into a form of live streamer a la Ecam OBS? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, because it's an NLE. Premiere doesn't live stream. DaVinci Resolve would be, maybe they would be the first to do live stream because they have hardware and stuff. I I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. Because Ecam doesn't work on an iPad yet. Maybe they're working on a version for the iPad, but it's a lot of horsepower running all this stuff. You know, that's one of the things. The Mac has it, you know, hands down, has an advantage doing all the things it has to do. Let me show you. This is Ecam Live running. This is Ecam Live running. I have a 34-inch LG monitor. This here is my switching screen. There is my preview and program monitors. I have both of those. Right below me is my audio monitor. You can see it right there. And these are all the different screens I have. Your comments are coming from over here, this panel. See, your comments are over there. And if you can see it says add to broadcast. And right next to add to broadcast is a ban button that I can ban you from the channel if I ever get a troublemaker. Sometimes I have my mouse hovered over that by mistake. I'm not paying attention, so I would unban you if I did it by mistake. So very, very cool. Let's take that off. Let's take that off. There we go. Seems like news production is a target of camera and iPad update. Certainly, yeah, Mojo, mobile journalism, absolutely. You're probably correct. It says the whole multicam switching thing made me wonder if they would expand into live streaming. It made me think, why not output the results of that live to YouTube or X? I don't know. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. And that's a good point about the multicam switcher. It's an excellent, excellent point. We got 71 people watching live now. So that's an excellent point about that. Let me see where they're watching from. Yeah, YouTube and X are about the same amount. That's a very busy setup. I'm sure it is. Well, it's not, I'm used to it. You know, I'm used to it. When I love taking my Ecam Live MacBook Pro when I go on the road, because once I get to the hotel room, I can do the live streams from there. And I use the MacBook Pro camera, which is really nice. It's a 1080p camera and it works very, very well. I think Final Cut Pro 11 might be like the old Studio with dedicated pages like Resolve has for dedicated apps, so we can get things like a true audio mixer, etc. Final Cut Pro has an audio mixer. Okay, it has an audio mixer. Just like they've had a scrolling timeline all these years, they just haven't turned it on yet. Probably refining it a little bit here, a little bit there. It's there. It'll be turned on when it's ready, but we'll have to see how that goes. 73 live viewers right now. I'm not a live streamer, but I think you'd love the Volo box. It has a touch screen and does everything you just showed, no computer needed. But what about a big screen? Does it have a big screen, like a 16-inch MacBook Pro screen? That's what I need. A 16-inch MacBook Pro is the minimum size that I need. So here's the thing. When I take my 16-inch MacBook Pro on the road and I'm in a hotel room, it's very cramped compared to what I'm used to with all these screens. When I get the iPad Pro 13-inch, I'll use that as my second monitor. That'll be a big, big deal for me when I'm on the road. Now, I understand, but what about the screen size? Jeremy says, I understand that Apple has to keep pushing Final Cut Junior for iPad, but I really hope we see way more enhancements to regular Final Cut Pro. I need that text-based editing. Yes. Maybe their text-based editing is going to be in version 11. I think we're going to see version 11 in 2024 around the Creative Summit. I would really like if they could combine Motion with Final Cut Pro in a large single app like Resolve does. Absolutely. I think that would be fantastic. That seems like the logical evolution of Final Cut Pro. You mean for the live streaming? I don't disagree with that. You guys have put that in my head now. I have to think about it. It's very possible. It's very possible. Isn't the new camera already way behind the free Blackmagic camera app in terms of features? Doesn't seem to make much sense at this point. Yeah, it does, because the Blackmagic camera app can't do the live multicam streaming on the iPad Pro. Can't do it. The only thing that can do it is the Final Cut camera app. So if you want to have live multicam streaming, you know, you're right about this. The live multicam streaming is for live streaming, right? Otherwise, just record the 4 separate ones if you're doing it in after the fact and post, and use a multicam and switch that way. You're absolutely correct about that. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. That makes perfect sense. The multicam switcher is for live stuff. So might they go into live streaming? They very well might. Motion and Logic Pro integration, role-based audio mixing would be the next level. It would be fantastic. Well, yes, that's true. So the idea of the Final Cut camera app is not primarily as a standalone app for the phone. It's to connect standalone iPhones to the multicam switcher in the iPad Pro in Final Cut. That's what it's for. Just by Apple being Apple, they made it available free for all iPhone users, because you can record now. It's a pro version of their app. It's got to have support for external audio. That is crucial. It's got to have support for my DJI Mic 2s. It has to have that. That's absolutely crucial. And it has audio meters, which the current camera app does not have, but it's got to have support for external mics. And on top of that, it would be nice to have a level control for those external mics. That would be phenomenal. Let me see who's watching now. Yep, X and YouTube. Let me see what's going on with, I don't think that, we got people watching on Facebook, but they're not showing up in my interface. They are not showing up in my interface. So I don't know, somehow it's just not showing up. That's okay. So the count that I have, right now we got 74 people watching, is just from YouTube and X. Facebook is not reporting the users that are watching. I don't know why. Facebook changed the rules for live streaming recently. Facebook changed the rules for live streaming. But anyway, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to these last 2 days. I'm approaching 500,000 views on YouTube. Now, to some people, that's not that much. But for me, I never got into this to worry about counts and stuff. It's nice to have viewers and subscribers and views and stuff. But the fact that I'm approaching 500,000 views on YouTube was incredible. I'll be getting my first check from YouTube shortly. I'll just put it aside and they can buy me coffee when I go to the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit in November. One thing is clear, while filmmakers can use Final Cut Pro for a project, Apple is not targeting that market. Filmmakers, documentary filmmakers, yes. Event people, yes. You're talking about Hollywood. They've already conceded and gave dupe detection for Hollywood. That was the biggest people complaining about not having dupe detection and needing it. So here's what the Final Cut Pro team said 2019, I think it was. It's 2019. We have different target audiences for Final Cut Pro. The main target audience is not Hollywood, but Hollywood is in the mix. Do they pay attention to Hollywood? Yes. They are not going to give it a disproportionate amount of attention compared to other things that the Final Cut Pro team are concerned with. YouTubers are gigantic. There's YouTubers on that get way more views than Hollywood films do. So millions and millions and millions of views on YouTube, some of these people do. So that's a good audience. Hollywood as well, but it's not the main focus of Final Cut Pro. And I don't want it to be. I want it to be more of a general audience, paying attention to some of the things that Hollywood wants. Yes, because things that Hollywood wants, dupe detection, is good for all of us. It's good for all of us. Am I going to have a Hollywood film? No. I have no intentions of ever getting involved with a Hollywood film. Am I going to do a film? I have a film that's being showed on July the 20th at the American Film Institute Theater in Silver Spring, Maryland, the Silver Theater. It's going to be shown on July the 20th. So am I a filmmaker? Yes, I'm a filmmaker. Not for Hollywood. That's quite a bit. Good job on the hard work. Well, it's, for me, at my level, it's something I never thought about until YouTube contacted me and said, hey, you're going to get 500,000 views soon. You ought to monetize your channel. So I said, all right. Congratulations on 500,000 views. You deserve it and are dedicated. I'm about 4,000 views away. So I'll have 500,000 probably in the next couple of weeks. Thanks. Thanks to you. Thanks to all you listeners and viewers and stuff. Thanks to each one of you. Absolutely. I really enjoy this. I have a TV studio in my upstairs studio. That's absolutely amazing. This is what happened yesterday. Now, X platform is overtaking the YouTube. X, I got 49 views. Live, these are live. These are simultaneously live. And YouTube, I have 30 people watching live. So X, the longer I stay on, the more people start watching on X. It's amazing. People on X send me a message. Live 2 days in a row. Wow. Well, here's the thing. It's because of Final Cut Pro 10.8 coming out and Final Cut for the iPad and the new Logic Pro and the camera app. Those are 5 things that they've been working on. I don't know if the Final Cut Pro team works on the camera app. I don't know that whether they do or not, but they probably work on it. I'm also considering if I should use a new iPad Pro as a second monitor, especially if you use it for color grading. Well, I don't do the serious color grading, but when I went to NAB, like when I went to Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, I go from 3 giant screens down to a 16-inch, so I got to modify things. But I'm going to get the iPad Pro, the 1 terabyte. Thanks to Matthew O'Brien, he came on yesterday and said, you want to get the 1 terabyte because it has extra. It's not just it's not just a hard drive doubling. It's also, you have one more core and you have access to 16 gigabytes of unified memory rather than just 8 or something like that. Have you ever considered running a YouTube Shorts live in conjunction with this this live, aren't the shorts vertical? Aren't the shorts vertical? I did Instagram live one time, and it's just like you can only see this much of me. You can't see my beautiful guitars. You can't see my phone when that comes in. You know what? Let's do this. We had this yesterday. We've been talking about Final Cut Pro 10. I thought it was going to be 10.7.2, but like I said, here's the thing. The optics, since they were going to update the Final Cut iPad 2 version to version 2, they couldn't very well just update Final Cut for the Mac to 10.7.2. They had to give both of them a full number update because of the way the optics. The Final Cut Pro team does not want people to start saying, oh, all you care about is that iPad version. You're not paying attention to the Mac version, et cetera, et cetera. And that's why they updated to 10.8. Agile boot camp, that's all we need. You guys have put that in my head about this live streaming situation. And you're absolutely correct. This is how good the audience is here. You're absolutely correct that the live camera switcher is really for live streaming or live television production. It's live switching, up to 4 cameras, live switching. Because if you're going to do it in post, you don't need the live switcher. You can just record the camera separate and put it in a multicam. It's for live. Now you got me thinking maybe they are going to do a live streaming Final Cut. That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. Or they're going to have another app for it, whatever. See what we're doing here. Yeah, we got twice as many viewers on X as we do on YouTube. Twice as many. And I don't know why X picks up as the longer we're on, the more people come over to X. Do you recall what version Logic was on? Logic was on 10.8.1. No, Final Cut Pro was on 10.7.1. Final Cut Pro is one version behind, full number version behind Logic. Logic was on 10.8.1. Final Cut Pro is on 10.7.1. So Logic went from 10.8.1 to version 11. Final Cut is now, within a week or two, is going to be on 10.8. We got over 6 months left in this year. Logic went from 10.8 to Final Cut Pro to Logic 11 in 6 months. Final Cut Pro is now at 10.8. Well, it will be in a couple of days or a week. In 6 months, I expect Final Cut Pro will be at version 11. Right around the Creative Summit. I think we'll get at least a preview at the Creative Summit of Final Cut Pro 11. If not, release of it. It makes sense to have the live stream captured to Final Cut Pro on Mac OS. Logic is on 10.8.1 right now, right, but it's coming up to 11 on Monday. I got a bunch of my homies watching on X. There you go. It's an interesting situation that X is definitely, for me, it's doing a good job. 49 viewers, 50 viewers are watching over there on X. If you're on X, throw a comment in there so I can see them here. Now, Matthew says, it's funny reading comments on a Logic channel I watched yesterday. They're just like never truly happy. Are you kidding me, Matthew? You think Final Cut Pro people are ever happy? You'll never, you always get complaints no matter what the Final Cut Pro team does. Constantly get complaints from Final Cut Pro users as well. So do we have a definite release date for 10.8? I don't think so. Let me go over there and check. Let's see what it says. Let me see what it says. Says. It doesn't say. Here we go. It just says Final Cut Pro for Mac 10.8 will be available as a free update for existing users and $299.99 US for new users on the Mac App Store. But you can update a 90-day trial. Final Cut Pro for iPad 2 will be available later this spring as a free update for existing users. Final Cut Camera will be available. Let's go look at this. Final Cut Camera will be available. Let me pull these up. Here we go. So here's what it says. Here's what it says. No, at the end, back at the bottom here, it says, talks about all the different options for releases. Here we go. Pricing and availability. Final Cut Pro for iPad available later this spring. Final Cut Camera will be available for a free update later this spring. Final Cut Pro for Mac 10.8 will be available as a free update. Well, obviously, it's also later this spring. It's also later this spring, right? So, all of them are later this spring. Logic, I think, is coming out Monday, right? Logic Pro. Just like what you're doing here, but with different angles. Well, I can have different angles. I can have, well, here we go. Let's do this. Different angle. Different camera. We got birds out there now. So I can have 4, 5, 6 cameras in Ecam Live. Wired, combination of wired, wirelessly plugged in. Professional cameras via HDMI. Wireless mic, my iPhone camera, the MacBook Pro camera. I can have all these in Ecam Live as well. Different angles, right? Different angles. These are 2 different angles right there. Are you using OBS to stream? Do you stream on Twitch or Kick? I have streamed on Twitch before. I might pull it up again once in a while. Every time I add another destination, it takes up more bandwidth. So I keep it to 3 right now. I don't have any audience on Twitch because I'm not a gamer. I've never played a single game on a Macintosh computer in my life. Never. It just doesn't interest me. I like editing video and I like doing audio. So OBS, no, I use Ecam Live. You'll use your Stream Deck to change angles, right? Well, I can do that. Actually, I can do that. I can do that here. I'm using the Stream Deck to change to that angle. I'm using the Stream Deck to change to this angle. I'm using the Stream Deck to change to that angle. So I use it for the Stream Deck to change angles. Speaking of complaints, I wonder, do people complain to the Apple team at the Creative Summit? Yes. Yes. We have a Q&A session. The last time was really, really cool. And people complain and talk about things that they want, plus they talk about complaints. I asked the first question at the Q&A. I went up the center aisle so they could see who was talking. Otherwise, I'm in the back in the dark. They'd have no idea because they know me. They know who I am. And I said the first thing I want to do is whoever enabled the scrolling timeline, thank you very much. Whatever one of you people enabled that, that's a big deal. And then I said, people, listen, there's millions of Final Cut Pro users out there, and I keep seeing this question come up over and over again. And the question is Final Cut Pro going to go the way of Aperture? Categorically not. They said, not only do we have plans for Final Cut Pro for the next 6 months, we have plans for Final Cut Pro for the next 4, 5, 6 years. That's how far ahead they're looking. So 11's coming a lot quicker than I thought. I asked because you were hinting at a date soon. I think Logic's coming out on next Monday or Tuesday, Logic Pro, to version 11. And I'm thinking, well, they say later in the spring. Spring's only 5 weeks long. After that, it's the summer. I do expect these updates to come out before WWDC. So I would say within the next couple of weeks, Logic's coming out next Monday or Tuesday. Final Cut Pro could happen at any time. As a matter of fact, well, I'm not going to bring it up now, but on any Tuesday or Thursday, Final Cut Pro for the Mac could happen. When do the iPads release to deliver? I think that's when Final Cut Pro will be updated, but Logic is next Monday. Logic's next Monday, right. So the iPads deliver, I think, next week, if you've ordered them already. I think we'll be getting the scrolling timeline button, right. I don't need that button because I leave it on all the time. Now, I wish DaVinci Resolve had a button because their scrolling timeline is not, they have a stationary playhead. When you turn it on, you can't move the playhead. It's stuck in the center. You have to move the clips underneath. Final Cut Pro, scrolling timeline, you can still move the playhead, and it will still scroll underneath the playhead. So sometimes I turn the DaVinci off because I like grabbing the playhead sometimes and moving it. And you can't do that in DaVinci Resolve's version because they call it a stationary playhead. So that's interesting. Dennis James said, I'm late. You can watch the replay. It's available. You can watch the replay. Let me see something here. Yeah, this is pretty, well, X has more live viewers than YouTube. YouTube's got about 30. X has 51, 78 total. I still don't understand what's going on with, I know people are watching over on Facebook. It's just not reporting. Yeah, I've got the viewer count on Facebook. It's just not showing up here. That's interesting. Facebook viewers do not show up, but I can see you there. When I go to Facebook, I can see it. So this count is actually low. It says 78, but there's in the 80s right now. So, but that's okay. Listen, you're the best. The audience here is the best audience. We'll be back. I'm not going to be back anymore this week. I doubt it. Unless 10.8 comes out, then we'll come back on for a little bit. What's today? Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday. So Thursday, it could come out tomorrow. 10.8 is coming. Do you think we'll get another update to WWDC? We've only got in 13 years, Final Cut Pro 10 has only been updated one time at WWDC, and that was Final Cut Pro 10.0.5. There's been no other Final Cut Pro updates at WWDC, and they've already announced the update now with the iPad event. I don't think there's any updates at WWDC. On or before June 19th, 2024, 20th is the first day of summer. And it's also the 20th or 21st is Final Cut Pro 10's birthday. It was when it was released June the 20th or 21st. I can never remember. It was released 13 years ago in June. So, yeah. Now, we'll get it. I think we'll get it within the next week or two, 10.8. On a Tuesday or Thursday, most likely, but it might come out with Logic Pro. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. You people are the absolute best live audience of anybody. The ones that watch Final Cut TV. As a matter of fact, let me put Final Cut TV up there so people know what this is, Final Cut TV. Don't forget Saturdays. Saturdays, 10 o'clock Saturday, we have Final Cut TV and coffee. Let me just see. Yeah, I got people watching over on YouTube, on Facebook, but they're not showing up on my head count. So we got in the 80s at this point. All righty. Anybody, I'm going to do this myself. Did I get a comment? Let me see something here. Did my comment from Facebook come? Yeah. Interesting. This is this is what I see when I stream live. It's really, it's kind of cool. Let me put this up. It's, when I stream live, I get this. It says, it changes to red, and it says live on my home Facebook page. So it lets me know that I'm live, so I can see the head count over there. Let me just check. Let me check over on X, see what's going on over there. I use X. I know the let me see, what was I saying? Oh, I know that, people have different social media places they go to, but I use X. I've been on X for a long time, and I like it a lot. Does Final Cut work with Final Cut for yeah, with the Final Cut Pro, the Final Cut camera app, of course it will. Thank you very much for watching. Got another thumbs up. Very, very cool. Thank you for adding to my view count. Excellent job. Excellent job. DaVinci needs a secondary playhead button. Secondary playhead? I heard someone say CapCut for Mac has a button. Secondary playhead button. What does that mean? Oh, you mean like Final Cut has the scrubber? Is that what you mean? I'm not sure. I am not sure. 75 people watching live, 41 thumbs up. Thank you for adding to my view count, everybody. Anybody have a birthday? We got birthday balloons here. Absolutely. Yeah, the live skimmer, the live skimmer, yeah. That would be nice. They have it in, you can do live skimming in their media pool. They don't call it the viewer, they call it the media pool. You can live skim those clips. Hovering line on the timeline, right. Yeah, we have 2 playheads. Let me just see what we're going on here. Yeah. Got a lot of people watching you over on X. But by and large, the majority of comments come in from YouTube. Matthew has a birthday on May the 28th. Well, here's your birthday balloons a little bit early, Matthew. Absolutely. Very cool. So, check-in Saturday, 10 o'clock. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. Check-in Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning. We are going to finish up here for today. I think we've said everything we have to say. Let me see if we have any more to play with this guy.
And we then M1. color grade, apply multiple effects, and render graphically intense timelines even faster. Your HDR content has never looked better. Final Cut Pro 2 transforms iPad Pro into a more powerful production studio and opens up entirely new video workflows.
So, very, very cool. There's multiple things that are going on with that camera app. The multicam switcher is very interesting. You people have told me, got me thinking that absolutely, I bet you they're going to be going towards live streaming, actually. I'm still trying to understand how it will show up on an iPad instantly. Is it proxy? I don't think so. No, I think it's coming from that. There's two different things going on. The iPad, the iPhone app, let's just say iPhone, Final Cut Pro app, is recording or showing the video, and somehow the app on the iPad can locate that phone and just bring it over. It's magic. It's absolutely magic. Thank you so much, Richard. See you Saturday. Always great watching you. Thank you, Marcus Moore, one of our dedicated followers, for showing up. I'm going to get out of here and get ready for dinner for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Absolutely, to the Final Cut Pro team. A tremendous amount of work went into all these updates. Keep on working on Final Cut for the Mac. That's what I care about the most. And Final Cut camera app is very, very cool. Final Cut for, I'm going to get an iPad Pro. I'm going to get one, it looks like, and I'll wait on the MacBook Pro. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you very much for tuning in here. This is for all of you. It gave you balloons, all the listeners out there. We're gonna go ahead and finish up tonight. Let me just see what we got here. Yeah, there we go. Enjoy dinner. Thanks for the info on Final Cut Pro. See you. Thank you very much, everybody. You are absolutely the best audience out there for Final Cut Pro live streams. You, all of you out there, are the best. I don't think there's going to be any more Final Cut Pro news this week. If 10.8 came out for some reason tomorrow, I'd come back on for a little bit. But, by the way, when you appreciate all the thank yous, absolutely, get your friends to come out here too. Let's see if we can get these numbers up even higher. The more people, for the most part, there are a few people that I ban once in a while. If they say something ridiculous, I'll just ban them from the YouTube channel. But I haven't done that for a long time. You're the best audience. Thank you very much for coming out today. Saturday morning, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, Final Cut TV and Coffee right here on the YouTube channel. Where's my YouTube channel? Here we go. YouTube.com/RichardTaylorTV. That's where you want to go to subscribe and thumbs up and all that. Right there. Pull that above. There we go. Awesome live. Thank you. Absolutely. You guys are the best. Absolutely the best. Over there on X. Very, very interesting. Very, very cool. Let me just pull this up. Take a screen grab of that. Excellent. Excellente. See y'all Saturday. If not before, I don't think 10.3 is coming out tomorrow, but you never know. 44 thumbs up. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you the next time.